defense wins championships. Jack Lambert throwing around Cliff Harris wins championships and Super Bowls. And guess what? Since defense wins championships, isn't it a nice little thing that going into the playoffs, your Pittsburgh Steelers are leading the league in interceptions and sacks? Because sacks make quarterbacks like him uncomfortable when you get sacked. Julius Peppers knocked you around once, didn't he? Did you pop up from that hit going, oh, I'm going to get him under the next play, or were you looking for him?
It was, he knocked me out right before halftime. It was a time when we didn't have the concussion protocol, and I ended up coming back in the game, and I'm not sure if I really remember the second half too well.
What day is it today, Mike? Come on.
I don't think anyone knows what day it is today. It's that foggy time right after the New Year, after Christmas, after the New Year's, and you're kind of like, what day is it?
Yeah, on a sugar, salt high.
Yep.
Look, the old adage that championships are won by defense, defense wins championships is absolutely true. Despite the offense's bugaboos with our running game and dunk and dink passing game, we'll see if they get that corrected. Your Pittsburgh Steelers defense, despite the Predator, Mr. Bush, being out, despite Bud Dupree being out, is doing a great job holding our own. Let's break down this defense right now. First of all, Hightower is looking great. I love his spin move. He hits that inside shoulder, and boom, he's in quarterbacks' faces.
Yeah, he's doing a decent job, and I think to help him out a little bit, maybe develop a few more blitzes. So often early in the season, you saw the Steelers just relying on four-man pressure because you had Bud Dupree and T.J. Watt on both sides. You have Cam Hayward coming up the middle. So you had so many guys coming at you, and they were all great matchups that it's tough to you could drop that extra guy in the defense and have a little better coverage, and those guys can get after the quarterback. I think you're going to have to develop a few extra pressures to help him out on the pass rush, and I think you're going to have to develop some specific run-type blitzes because early in the game last week, you saw Nick Chubb have a couple big runs, and next thing you know, you got Fitzpatrick trying to tackle Chubb, 15, 20 yards downfield, and that's tough to beat, and you saw Chubb kind of take it to the house on that one. So again, I would expect Pittsburgh to dial up some run-type blitzes, and then some special blitzes as well, and get up there and press the receivers of the Browns. Jarvis Landry, you got this young Peoples-Jones, you got these young guys for Cleveland, except for Landry. So get up there, try and play a little pressure man. Typically in the playoffs, the officials will let you go a little bit more in the secondary. You saw it last year in the year, earlier in the season, everyone's throwing the football around, and then, the last year and then the year before, the teams that were aggressive on defense were the teams that kind of got through. You saw the Patriots, got there running the football. And to me, that's what you got to let the defense play a little bit more aggressive, and that's what Pittsburgh needs to do. Play a little bit more aggressive, man. Bring some pressure with some blitzes, and that will help pick up the slack that Bud Dupree with him being gone.
Yeah, I agree with that.
And then bringing that extra pressure as well. Now all of a sudden that free, that's going to put T.J. Watt one-on-one. Bring some pressure off T.J. Watt's side, because when you do that, now you can't use that back to, okay, I can take a little shot at T.J. Watt and then releasing the flat.
Old chip block.
Hit him in the ribs or something.
Yeah.
Now you can put T.J. Watt back one-on-one.
Great.
With that
Great.
right tackle.
Then I'll spin Hightower in this way
Exactly.
and fly Mike Hilton
So you have
right into Mayfield's face.
Bring a few extra pressures, develop some new blitzes. I would expect the Steelers to do that. I'm sure the Browns will be trying to prepare for it, but again, they don't know which way it's coming from, and those run blitzes would be big too.
If you go back to the beginning of the season, Tyson Lulu, love this man, trying a new position called nose guard, nose tackle. One of the hardest positions on the defensive front, because basically all you are is a battering ram, because you take on the center, then a guard and another guard, the fullbacks, and you're just trying to create a hole there.
Well, you're trying to plug it up.
Plug it up,
you're going to get blocked in, and a lot of time, every once in a while, the referees will call it, hey, defensive holding. And what happens?
That's because grab on. You got to grab on
and grab both, because they're going to work double team up to the linebackers, and what you're trying to do, his job is to grab that offensive lineman and make sure both of them are used up on him, so it frees up his linebacker to come up and make that tackle. And with Bush out and is Spillane back yet? No, him out. So now you have to really pick up the slack and help out your linebackers so they can get out there and make those tackles. Because Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt, that's a tough two-headed monster.
Bounce.
And
they
if
can
you
bounce.
put both of them in the backfield,
oh boy!
Now you have to bring Fitzpatrick down in, and that could open up a headache as well.
Alawalu also at the beginning of the season had the uncanny ability to find his way to the quarterback. He's got to have a great defensive, performance, not against the Browns, but throughout the playoffs. Cam Hayward, what can I say, man? He's eaten at the Ponderosa buffet all season long. Look for Ironhead's son to continue to have a great playoffs. But Mike, I'm going to tell you right now, for $9 million a year, if I don't see Mr. Stephon Tuitt step it up during these playoffs, he's out of here next season. He has to be at a $9 million price tag.
Well,
I've got to have Tuitt step up. And I know you people are going to say, oh, he's had some blocks, he's had some tackles. And, well, guess what? That's his job! That's his job! That's his job! Don't tell me he's having a great season because he knocked the ball down and he had some tackles. That's his job. I need Tuitt to perform at a $9 million level, Mike.
Well, that's because Hayward gets the double teams and Watt gets a double team. So that's going to open up some things for him, and he should be playing a little bit better. As far as this contract goes, and the Steelers are going to have a lot of decisions to make this offseason. And so they need to try and win now.
Well, then you know what, Mr. Tuitt, and he's a good guy, and I do like him. You know what? Make it hard on your Pittsburgh Steelers to send you packing to Seattle next year and step up to it and be the guy you can be. All right, moving to the outside linebackers, defensive ends, I don't know what you call them anymore. T.J. Watt, as of right now, he is not the NFL Defensive Player of the Year. He's got to be, Mike. I know you like Aaron Donald, but right now T.J.'s leading the league in sacks. He is performing at a great level right now. T.J. Watt is your Defensive Player of the Year. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. You can't even argue with me.
I have not seen him beat the double team, and that's the thing. Once he starts to learn how to beat the double team, then you can put him in that conversation. And I think
if Tuitt plays better, he won't be beating double team.
But again, you look at Watt's sacks, and he's got a high motor. He's relentless. He doesn't give up. But that Bud Dupree factor helped him a lot. And if you gave him the Defensive Player of the Year, then you would have to look at Jack Lambert helped out as well.
Jack Lambert's not playing in this game either, so Bud's gone. So.
Yeah, exactly. So he's gonna have to play a big game. He's gonna have to be ready to stop the run and also get after the quarterback. But again, we saw him a couple weeks ago, running to the sideline more than I've ever seen, and he was gassed a little bit a couple times. So against Washington and even against the Colts. So he's gonna have to have a big game. He's gonna have his hands full, and again, that's why I think the Steelers need to find a way to dial up some pressure to take the pressure off of Watt. Give him some one of those one-on-one matchups. Because if I'm Cleveland, I'm just going to double team him the entire game and just put him in a spot. Run the football right at him.
And again, that's why
take him out of the game.
Tuitt has to step up to take that pressure off of Mr. Watt there. All right, your inside linebacking core has been decimated by injury this season. Of course, Mr. Bush and he and Jack Lambert are not playing this weekend. Okay, so what does that leave you? Vince Williams is finally getting his legs back after the COVID protocol. Avery Williamson, Mike, he doesn't run through tackles enough for me that I want to see out of an inside linebacker because he's not one of these hybrid linebackers. He doesn't run through tackles, but again, maybe he can get his play-up performance back. Robert Mickey Spillane, the pleasant surprise he's been. We'll probably see him on the field this week. So I think that linebacking core should be able to hold its own.
Yeah, getting Spillane back will help out as well. You just have to see. It's going to be a playoff type atmosphere. Everything's going to happen faster, and the secondary is going to have their hands full. And whether you bring in Sean Davis or Fitzpatrick, you're going to have to bring them down in the box and try and help out.
All right. Let's talk about that secondary. Minkah Fitzpatrick, man, oh man. You know, at the beginning of the season, people were saying, where's Minkah? Where's Minkah? Well, that was easily solved. People were staying away from him. This defensive secondary, Joe Hayden, well, we'll see if he makes it off the COVID protocol for this week. I think this defensive secondary, Mike, is solid enough. Again, defense wins championship. Minkah Fitzpatrick likes to knock the snot out of people. Edmonds is coming along. He's still a C+, B- for me. I like the fact that they used Sean Davis last week. Sean Davis led this team in tackles for 3 seasons before he blew his shoulder out. His coverage skills aren't that great, but he likes to hit people. When you get into the playoffs, if you start hitting people, it takes a toll on them. You're talking about blitzes. Give me a strong safety, free safety blitz up the middle anytime with Sean Davis or Minkah knocking the heck out of Baker.
Well, that's what you're gonna have to do. You're gonna have to bring guys down the box, try and stop Chubb and Kareem Hunt, and take your chances on the outside with the young receivers. Then
you
have
trust
Jarvis
Nelson and Hilton and Hayden?
I think you can, especially with a young receiving core, banged up receiving core that the Browns have. You know, they got a rookie out there. Now they have those 2 tight ends that are decent, but I think you can come in and hit them low and make the tackles on them. I would force Baker Mayfield to throw the football. The Browns right now are built to run the ball first, throw it second. I would force them to run. Have your defensive backs come in, play jam, press them in the face. Be aggressive with them. Make them fight to get off that press. Bring the pressure on Baker. These are young guys. Their releases, it's not like Devontae Adams out there where he can make a guy miss and he's off and running. You know, these are some young receivers. Press them, get up in their face, and be aggressive. Go ahead and take a few penalties with, make the officials call that, little hold or illegal contact past 5 yards. Go ahead, be aggressive. Typically, the officials in the past have let the defensive backs play a little bit more, and they let them be a little bit more aggressive. So for the Browns, bring that guy down in the box, blitz him on pass plays, run blitz, bring pressure. Don't let Chubb get loose. And I think you have a solid chance. I mean, you got to force them to have a bunch of 3 and outs. And then when you do gang tackle and break that football, Minkah Fitzpatrick, that's one of the things that he does great is you see him making that tackle. He's always raking that ball. The Steelers are trying to do that. They need to get a few turnovers and get a couple extra possessions to beat this Cleveland Brown team, I think.
I think one of the successes for the Steelers to make it all the way to Tampa, when Minkah Fitzpatrick came here, one of the reasons he wanted out of Miami with the tuna fish is because they were playing him too much in the box. They wanted him to be that hybrid everything.
Well, he's going to have to play in the box this week.
This is what I'm saying. It's fine through the regular season. It's got you here, but the ultimate goal is to win that Lombardi trophy in Tampa. I think you're going to see him make the commitment to the team because, baby, when he brings it, and Keith Butler's smart enough to know, and Mike Tomlin is smart enough to know, for the success of this defense to continue through the playoffs against Josh Allen, McMahon, Old Man Rivers, and everybody else you got out there. And ultimately, if you get to the Super Bowl against Aaron Rodgers, who's having one of his best seasons of his year, you're gonna have to bring some unorthodox hitting back to the game.
Yeah.
And that's Minkah playing that hybrid linebacker.
And he's going to have to take a little pace. He's going to have to go back and you look at some film a couple years back when the Seahawks won their Super Bowl and Cam Chancellor coming down and making those tackles. Now, to me as a safety, if you come down hard and get to that about 5 yards, to make the tackle on a Nick Chubb or a Kareem Hunt, you come in and hit him at that 5 yard mark, right when that hole opens, then you get in there and hit him, it's much easier to make that tackle. But if he gets out past that 7 or 8 yards and it's in the open field, now you got to wait for the break to the left, the juke to the right, or the shoulder just running you over.
Yep.
And you saw Chubb break a couple tackles last week once he got into the open field. So if I was the Steelers, I would be bringing those safeties downhill, hard, fast, and making sure they make that tackle around that 5-6 yards, no deeper.
And again, all those pieces that we talked about and gave you a defensive scheme have to come into play. Flying Hilton, flying Nelson, Hayden when he comes off, helping out Hightower with some blitz packages, taking the double team off of Mr. Watt by Mr. TUITT playing better and earning your $9 million. If all those beautiful pieces can come together, I got a feeling Pittsburgh going to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, not so fast. Again, this is Baker Mayfield they're playing this week.
Yeah, I know.
Take Chubb out, take Kareem Hunt, force Baker to beat you. Then deal with the next week. If you're facing Phillip Rivers, you're going after, or actually, no, if the Colts win, you're facing Lamar Jackson or Ryan Tannehill. Then, again, you have to take away the run game against those guys. If it's the Buffalo Bills,
Josh Allen's
you
big arm.
got to try and put pressure on him and not let him throw the ball past 10 yards down the field because he will air it out.
One thing is for certain, your Pittsburgh Steelers, the Rooneys, Kevin Colbert, the entire Pittsburgh Steelers front office have presented to you another postseason. Ain't it great to be a Steelers fan?